Bill Protecting Marriage Equality. By Rose Horowitz and Moira Warburton. Washington, Reuters. The U.S. House of Representatives on Tuesday was expected to pass legislation protecting gay marriage rights, after the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade imperiled similar precedents that protected rights to same-sex relations and contraception. The bill establishes federal protections for gay marriage and prohibits anyone from denying the validity of a marriage based on the race or sex of the couple. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler sponsored the bill after the federal right to an abortion was overturned when the Supreme Court struck down its landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling. In a concurring opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas said the court should also reconsider its past rulings that guaranteed access to contraception and the 2015 right to gay marriage, because they relied on the same legal arguments that Roe did. The bill is expected to win bipartisan support in the House, according to a Judiciary Committee aide, but it faces a difficult road in the Senate where Republican opponents might be able to block passage. Congressional Republicans have echoed Thomas's arguments. Republican Senator Ted Cruz said on Saturday that the High Court was clearly wrong in establishing a federal right to gay marriage. Democrats have argued that Congress must enshrine the right to gay marriage into federal law in case the court revisits its past rulings. The rights and freedoms that we have come to cherish will vanish into a cloud of radical ideology and dubious legal reasoning, Nadler said in a statement on Monday. Under the House bill, states could still restrict gay marriage if the Supreme Court overturns its prior ruling. But such states would be required to recognize marriages that occurred in states where they remain legal. Democrats are hoping the bills will draw a contrast to Republicans ahead of November 8 midterm elections, in which soaring inflation challenges Democrats' majority hold on the House and Senate. Reporting by Rose Horowitz and Moira Warburton, editing by Jonathan Otis.
Mr. Speaker, H.R. 8404, the Respect for Marriage Act, would reaffirm that marriage equality is and must remain the law of the land. Over the past several decades, millions of LGBTQ people in loving and supportive relationships have married and formed families, particularly after the Supreme Court ruled in Obergefell v. Hodges that the Constitution protects marriage equality. An estimated 2 million children are being raised by LGBTQ families today. An enormous body of research shows that stable and loving families are the foundation for children's well-being and success, and children do best when their families have the critical legal protections to care for one another. Thankfully, marriage equality remains constitutionally protected, and there is no indication that it will be overturned in the foreseeable future. It is and should forever be considered settled law. Nonetheless, the Supreme Court's recent decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health, which extinguished the constitutional right to abortion, has raised concerns among some people that other rights rooted in the constitutional right to privacy may be at risk, notwithstanding the Court's assurance that Dobbs was limited to abortion. This includes the right to marriage equality. In fact, in a concurring opinion in Dobbs, Justice Clarence Thomas explicitly called on the Court to reconsider its decisions protecting other fundamental rights, including the right to same-sex marriage. And although Justice Thomas did not mention the right to interracial marriage, that right relies on the same constitutional doctrines as the right to same-sex marriage, and therefore it could be vulnerable to a legal challenge in the future as well. Even if we accept the Court's assurance in Dobbs that its decision does not call other rights into question, Congress should provide additional reassurance that marriage equality is a matter of settled law. All married people who are building their lives together must know that the government will respect and recognize their marriages for all time. The Respect for Marriage Act, which I introduced with the co-chairs of the LGBTQ Equality Caucus, the chairs of the Congressional Tri-Caucus, and the House Democratic Caucus Chair Hakeem Jeffries, is an updated version of a bill that I first introduced in 2009. The first provision would repeal the Odious Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA, the 1996 law that discriminates against married same-sex couples. While that law is ruled unconstitutional, it remains on the books, and it must be removed. The bill would also enshrine marriage equality for federal law purposes and would ensure that states give full legal effect to valid out-of-state marriages regardless of the sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin of the individuals in the marriage. This legislation would provide additional stability for the lives that families have built upon the foundation of our fundamental rights. Congress must pass the Respect for Marriage Act to dispel any concern or uncertainty for families worried by the implications of the Dobbs decision. And it must pass the Respect for Marriage Act to enshrine in law the equality and liberty that our Constitution guarantees. I reserve the balance of my time.
Getting bored? Want to enjoy some relaxing music? Do you need to get updated with all the latest news but don't have enough time to watch TV for hours? Or do you need to get your praise and worship on? We have your solution to your problem. SAVEDnewsRadio.com got everything you need. Listen to SAVEDnewsRadio.com, filled with praise and worship 24/7, everywhere, in your home, laptop, or tablet, on your phone, in your car, and on Alexa. Install the Save News Radio skill on Alexa and then just say, "Alexa, launch Save News Radio." The beautiful, uplifting sounds of praise and worship music, ministries, news, and more. SaveNewsRadio.com, created to glorify God and edify the body of Christ.